guys, so this is What If Deku Was Nick Wilde Part 2. Now, let me switch to better. So basically, this is What If Deku Was Nick Wilde Part 2. Now, I think I last left off when Deku went back home after the first day of UA. Now, Deku goes back to UA the next day, and I'm pretty sure last time the ship was... So basically, let's start off. I'm pretty sure the ship for this What If was actually Momo. So yeah, let's continue with that. So basically, Deku pretty much went to school, or went to UA the next day, walking into class 1A. Now, the rest of the class goes relatively normal, like in canon, but All Might shows a maid class and explains to the class they're doing combat training. They get handed their hero costumes, and Deku's hero costume was designed to mainly fit his fox attributes and also give Deku a little bit of an edge in a fight. So Deku's hero costume, Deku's hero costume is going to be something like, what you call it, what was it? No, that wasn't like, no, wait. Deku's hero costume is basically the exact same costume that Star Fox wears in like video games. Basically having the same jacket and logos, everything. Basically his hero costume is basically something along the lines of looking just like, the Star Fox outfit. It's just that the Star Fox outfit he's wearing doesn't have boots, so it's just his feetless, it's just his bare feet. So all the way to the ankle down, all the way to the calf down is just, his bare feet. And also Deku has, he does have guns. They're mainly, mainly they're just tranquilizer darts that can basically make somebody go to sleep for at least half an hour when they're hit with them, or you can change them to taser and shoot people with them and, electrocute people. So that's how his, thing happens. And also he has a display system with the whole entire thing around his ear. Basically, it increases, because he already has superhuman senses and the hearing of a fox. But that thing allows him to basically communicate without taking a phone out. He can basically, it's like a Bluetooth. It's like a Bluetooth phone. So basically, you can call people with it, and also it's an AI in it, so he can also monitor his vitals with it because it's linked up to his, anatomy. So basically, Deku's suit is pretty high tech, and also the rest of his suit is bulletproof. So yeah, so basically, Deku's hero costume looks pretty good. Everybody, comments Deku's on his hero costume, and Deku's hero costume is mainly focused to give Deku a little bit of a lot of agility, and also give Deku some durability. And Deku has a small healing factor, like I said earlier in the part 1, but yeah. So basically, that's basically, we're gonna skip to, the combat training. The combat training starts, and everybody gets on their hero costumes. They get ready, and Deku's teamed up with Ochaku still, and also, Bakugo's teamed up with Ida still. They start, and Deku's never met Bakugo, so so basically the fight isn't really personal, it's just Deku trying to get over with the fight. So Bakugo doesn't really care, he just wants to take Deku out so he can, win. So basically they start, and Deku, runs up in there, basically saying nothing to Ochaku, just ignoring her or running off. Ochaku takes stuff in her own hands, just tries to go up to the bomb room, trying to avoid Bakugo. Deku runs into Bakugo, and basically, Bakugo sees Deku and says, "You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win, you little furball." And Deku says, "Who are you calling a furball, Chihuahua?" Basically, Bakugo getting super angry, throwing an explosion at Deku. Deku dodges it, throwing throwing a taser grenade, or more or less like some sort of electric grenade, electrocuting Bakugo, making Bakugo fall into the ground. But it wasn't enough to take down Bakugo, so Bakugo throws another explosion, and also, Deku's distracted with that explosion. Bakugo blows the pin, or pretty much sets off his grenade arm on Deku's face, and basically basically blows Deku away into a wall, knocking him out. But doesn't, take Deku out. He just gets knocked through a wall, and Deku gets up, coughing up some blood. Bakugo running through the hole Deku made when he was burst through it, and basically being grabbed by the throat by Bakugo, and Bakugo says, "You're gonna die." And basically throws an explosion at Deku's face, But Deku was able to slip out of Bakugo's hands and takes out one of his, electric tasers or electric taser pistols and basically shoots it in Bakugo's forehead, electrocuting Bakugo enough to knock him out. And Deku pits back his, gun, basically walking off, but Bakugo gets back up, throwing another explosion, pulling his gauntlet in Deku's face, but Deku, basically in that moment, switches his personality. And Deku becoming rapid or savage. Deku pretty much grabs Bakugo's arms, pretty much dodging the explosion, ripping the gauntlet off of Bakugo's arm, grabbing Bakugo's forehead or grabbing the hair, or pretty much grabbing a chunk of Bakugo's hair from his scalp and swinging him through the ground, knocking him through the ground, throwing him through the floor, basically knocking Bakugo out instantly. Deku starts running on all fours up the stairs, and eventually gets to the bomb room where Ochaku's fighting Ida. Ida's running around with the bomb, and Deku runs over to Ida, biting super hard into Ida's leg, basically biting through the middle or the armor that Ida's wearing. Because Ida was wearing like a full-on middle suit, and Deku bit through that with ease into Ida's leg. Ida yelled in pain, and Deku in that instant jumped up and pretty much clawed out Ida's face. Not, making permanent damage, but just, clawing Ida's face. Ida trying to get Deku off of him, and basically Ochaku taking this moment to grab the bomb and win. Deku and Ochaku win, but Deku's still savage, basically still clawing at Ida's face. But Aizawa walks into the class and basically disables Deku's quirk. Basically, Deku's superhuman abilities going away, but Deku's still having, his Fox mutation quirk. Basically, Deku snapping out of his, pretty much rapid or pretty much, savage state, jumping off of Ida, saying, "I'm so sorry, Ida," basically helping up Ida, and Ida saying, "You warned me about this. You said something about you having this alternate personality or something." Basically, Deku did tell Ida this about, him having an alternate personality and him having, to go savage sometimes when he's knocked out of consciousness. But basically, Deku apologizes and gets back up, pretty much helping Ida back up and taking him to the Recovery Girl office. Deku, pretty much is, crowned the MVP, but Ochaku is basically crowned the MVP because, she was the one that won for them. Basically, Deku, is basically crowned on, but some people are kind of afraid of Deku now because they saw how, angry or how out of control Deku can get. But, what was it? Momo actually, comforts Deku, and Deku in that short moment asks something pretty weird and pretty much asks Momo for her number. Basically not wasting any time. Momo, is kind of caught off guard, but Deku's in a pretty rich family, so she thinks her parents are gonna approve of her dating Deku, and also she does have a little bit of feelings for Deku. So basically, she says yes and basically gives Deku her number on a piece of paper. Deku says, "Oh, thank you," and basically puts it in his pocket, and basically they end off there. Everybody gets him back home, and Deku goes back to school the next day, basically walking in the class 1A. The rest of the class, they get, introduced, they get told by Aizawa that they're doing the, the USJ event, or the USJ attack, or the USJ training, and basically people will get on the bus. Now basically Deku just ignores everybody and not talking to anybody, but also texting Momo on the, bus. Momo texting back, basically them having a small conversation. Basically, Deku offers the idea to, maybe start dating Momo actually, thinks that's a really good idea. So she, she gives Deku a time and a place to pick her up tomorrow, to pick her up later after we get off of school. And basically, Deku's saying, yeah, basically, they arrive to the USJ, and basically they stop, talking and they put away their phones. They get off the bus, and they get told to go into the USJ, and they get the same speech by 13 about how quirks are dangerous, but also they can help people. Blah, blah, blah. All that other stuff. So basically, Deku walking around, or looking around, and seeing a portal open up. Deku looking around, basically Aizawa jumping in, fighting the villains that are coming out the portal, telling 13 to get the students out of here. 13 gets the students out of here, or tries to get them out, basically being stopped by the Shadow Court guy, and the Shadow Court guy basically automatically folding 13. Basically, everybody else gets teleported away, and Deku is teleported away, and pretty much about to fall into the water, but he gets captured or saved by Froppy. Froppy swings him on top of the boat, and basically Deku is thinking of a plan. Basically, everybody else, Baku. I mean, what was it? Ochaku is pretty scared because what was it? Mineta was expelled, so basically he's not here. Basically, Deku, looks around, basically seeing a couple other, villains circling the boat, and Deku thinking of an idea. Deku pretty much modifies his gun to be a supercharger or a super taser and takes out one of his taser grenades and basically getting them ready to throw into the water. Deku chucks both of them in the water, supercharging them, basically electrocuting everything from a 50-mile radius deep into the water, basically electrocuting most of the villains, basically giving them enough time to swim to the shore and get out of there. Basically, they swim to shore, and a couple other villains follow them, the villains that weren't electrocuted, but they get electrocuted when they're, they get near the, modified gun and electric taser, or taser grenade, because they're still on. They're just making a perimeter in the water, so if a villain, went into that perimeter, they would get electrocuted. So basically, a couple villains try to follow them out of the shore, or out of the water, but they get electrocuted, so yeah. So basically, they get out of the way pretty fast, and they run off. And Deku seeing All Might show up, fighting the Nomu. Basically, All Might fighting the Nomu, going left and right, left and right, left and right. Basically, Deku running off, and basically trying to help, trying to help, what was it called? All Might, pretty much taking out one of his other taser pistols, basically shooting it at the Nomu's forehead. Pretty much Shigaraki looks at Deku and says, "Kill the boy." And basically, the Nomu drop kicks All Might in the chest, throwing All Might to the ground. Deku looks at the Nomu, pretty much running towards him, and Deku takes out pretty much his claws, pretty much going into, a fight. Pretty much running towards the Nomu trying to, attack Deku. Deku being too fast for the Nomu, jumping around the body of the Nomu, clawing into the Nomu's flesh with his claws. Basically clawing pretty deep into the Nomu's, back, stomach, and forehead. Basically eventually getting to a point where he sees the brain and he's wide open, and basically digging both of his hands deep into the Nomu's brain, ripping out certain parts of the Nomu's brain, and also eventually ripping the whole entire Nomu's brain to nothing but mush, killing the Nomu in instants. Killing the Nomu in an instant. Deku, swaps off his, takes off his fingerless gloves because, they're covered in blood, and basically looks at his hands, basically wiping them off on his, on his pants. Not trying to wipe them off on his white jacket, because getting red out of white is pretty hard for Deku's jacket. So basically, Deku, All Might gets back up, pretty much trying to take down Shigaraki, but the heroes show up, shoot Shigaraki, but Shigaraki is teleported away by the Shadow Court guy, and the rest of the kids are sent to, the nurse's office or the hospital, and basically after that, Deku, they get ready, and everybody gets, goes back to school, but after the days they got off of school, Deku actually goes on a few dates with Momo. Deku goes on a few dates with Momo, basically becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. And basically eventually they get to a point where, they're spending some time together, and eventually, they do the deed, basically them becoming boyfriend and girlfriend officially. Basically, over the week they do plan on seeing each other's parents, but they stop because they gotta go back to school. So they go back to school, and I'm gonna leave it off here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the what if, and I hope you guys enjoyed, my what ifs. Now, guys, if you know anybody in your family or any of your friends that like what ifs, or like stop motions, or like video, or like action figure comedy, just send them to my channel, because I need to get my views up, my guys. Because I'm only getting 50 something views, or like 30 something views on my videos. So I just want to get my views up, my guy. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. Bye.